Okay, greetings to you all and welcome to this particular presentation. This academy is called Unique Solution Academy, where we release tutorial videos in all fields of education in order to facilitate education in our country and worldwide. This video is being presented by the CEO of this academy, Cameroon. So let's get straight into what we have today. We're going to be looking at solutions to Maths 2021 Paper 1. So get your pens, your books, your calculators and other necessary materials ready so that you follow through even as we present the video. So let's get started with question 1. It says, given the set of real numbers, the identity element for multiplication is, so we can see the various options. To answer this question, we need to take into consideration this statement. We need to know that an identity element is that element that whenever multiplied, divided or added by any number, leaves the number unchanged. So the identity element for multiplication is 1. Why? Because if we take any number, say a times 1, it will still leave that number unchanged, which is a. Okay, same thing for division. The identity element for division is 1 because if you take any number, say a divided by 1, you will still leave the number unchanged. Also, the identity element for addition is 0. Why? Because if we take any number plus 0, the number will remain unchanged. So to this effect, our answer is A. Question number 2. The HCF of 21 and 36 is, so we begin by drawing our lines. As we can see, the first number is 21, we fit it, 36. Now we need to look for the smallest number. We begin with the smallest number that can divide 21 and 36 without a remainder. So the first number we see here is 3. 21 divided by 3 should give us 7. 36 divided by 3 should give us 12. Now the next number that can divide 7 and 12. Generally, there is no number that can divide 7 and 12 at the same time without a remainder. So we end here because we are looking for the HCF. If we are looking for the LCM, we will still continue. But for the HCF, where there is a point where no number can divide the two numbers, or the numbers we are looking for their HCF at the same time, we end there. So to that effect, our HCF is just 3. Hence, our answer is A. Question number 4. Subtracting 1.9705 from 5 gives. These are questions that you can just punch your calculator and you have the answer. As you can see, the answer is B. Question number 5. A fraction equivalent to 4 on 5 is. With questions like this, if you like, you can punch 4/5 on your calculator and then you start comparing with the options given. Anyone that matches, it's the correct answer. Or by simplification, you need to know that an equivalent fraction is a fraction that will look the same like another fraction when simplified to the fullest. So if we take 24, the correct answer to this question is 24 on 30, which is D. So let me show you how it comes to be equivalent. If we divide 24 and 30 by 2, we're going to have 12 on 15. And if we divide 12 on 15 by 3, we're going to have 4/5. And you see it matches with the question. So the correct answer to this question is D. Question number 6. 0.00746 correct to 2 decimal places is. Now you have to see that this question has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This number is written in 5 decimal places. So if you want to put this number to 2 decimal places, you have to know that the first decimal position occurs at the 0. The first 0 you see there is a whole number. After the whole number, you have the decimal. After the decimal, you have 0. That's the first decimal point. And the second is still 0. So if we are to put this number to 2 decimal places, we have to first of all identify the position of the second decimal number, which is the second 0. And now nextly, we'll look at the number behind that decimal position. It is 7. And if you observe keenly, you see that 7, it is greater than 5. So we have to add 1 to our position, decimal position, which is the second position, which is 0. We add 1 to it and we neglect the rest of the numbers after it. So if we do that properly, we are going to have to 2 decimal places, we are going to have 0.01, and our answer is C. Question number 7. Expressing 3 times 10 to the power minus 5 times 2 times 10 to the power 7 in standard form is, we have to know that generally any number in the form say a times 10 to the power n, where a is said to be in the range from 1 to 9, is said to be in standard form. So to solve this, we can separately multiply the 3's and the 2's and the 10's separately, and then we bring them together. So separately multiplication, by multiplying them separately, we're going to have 3 times 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 5 times 10 raised to the power 7. And we know that from laws of indices, when the bases are the same, we just add the powers. That's why we have 10 raised to the power minus 5 plus 7. So 3 times 2 is 6.0 times 10 to the power 2, because negative 5 plus 7 is 2. So if we do this, you see that our answer is A. Question number 8. Given that €1 is 650 francs CFA, 65,000 francs CFA in euros will give. This is simply a question for you to apply direct proportion, right? So if €1 gives 650 francs CFA, then X euro will give 65,000 CFA. So when we have this, we just cross multiply, and if we cross multiply, we're going to have €1 times 650 francs CFA to be equal to €1 times 65,000 francs CFA. And if we make X the subject by dividing both sides by 650, we're going to have X to be equal to 100. Hence, our answer is C. Question number 9. In a test of 75 marks, a candidate scores 60 marks. The candidate's percentage score is, generally you have to know that the percentage score will just be given by the candidate score divided by the total score. The candidate score was 60, and the total score for that sequence was 75. So we have to multiply by 100 since we're talking about the percent. So in that case, we're going to have 60 divided by 75 times 100. That gives us 80%. So our answer is C. Question number 10. There are 108 girls in a mixed school. If the ratio of girls to boys is 4:3, then the total number of students in the school is. Now, this question simply means that the school has 180 girls and a certain number of boys which we don't know, but the ratio of girls to boys is 4:3. That means girls, the ratio is 4 and the ratio of boys is 3. So to solve this question, we have to begin by letting the total number of students involved to be X. That means the number of girls plus the number of boys to be X. Nextly, we have to look for our sum of ratio, which is just 4 plus 3 equals 7. Now, since there are 180 girls, we have to know that the number of girls will be given by 4 on 7 times the total number of students in that mixed school, and that should give us 180 as the portion occupied by the girls. So if we have that in mind, then we cross multiply. We're going to have 4x to be equal to 180 times 7, and 4x equals to 1260. Dividing both sides by 4 will give us x to be equal to 315. So the total number of students in the school is 315. Implying that from here we can get the number of boys. If the number of girls were 180, then the number of boys automatically will be 315 minus 180. So to this effect, our answer is D. Question number 11. Two sets say S and T are defined as follows. S equals to AB and T equals to CD. The relation that best describes S and T is. This question is too simple. Now all we need to do is to compare the set S and T. If we compare S and T, we are going to see that they have nothing in common. And since they have nothing in common, it means their intersection is equal to 0. So it is a null. Or you can represent it by this. So to this effect, our answer is B. Question number 12. It says the shaded portion represented in the Venn diagram in figure 1 is. This question, to solve this question, we have to understand what the meant by set notation. Now, looking at this diagram, it means they have excluded the set Q. So it means that the shaded region is the region P intersection Q prime. So we have simply excluded the set Q. Anything in the set Q is not included. So to this effect, our answer is A. Question number 13. The truth value of P and Q is true when? This question is under logic. So we have to know that the truth value of the statement P and Q is always true if and only if the both statements P and Q are true. Okay, it's like this question has a problem. Yeah, actually, the statements P and Q, the statement P and Q is always true if and only if the first statement is true and the second statement is true as well. Else, it will always be false. That's how the truth table is. It is always true if and only if the first statement is true and the second statement is true. Okay, the first statement is P and the second statement is Q. So if the first statement is true and the second statement is true as well, then the final statement P and Q will always be true. Anything apart from that will always be false. So if you look at the options that best suits this is if the both statements are true, then it's going to be true. To this effect, you have to make sure you master the truth value notation, the truth values for the other notations like P or Q. P or Q are just the reverse of P and Q. P or Q is always false if and only if the both statements are false, P and Q. Else, you'll always be true. So you have to make sure you have a mastery of the other notations as well. Question number 14. The image of -3 under the function f is such that x maps onto 7 minus x is. This question is under functions, relations and functions. Now the image of -3 simply means we should substitute -3 in the function f of x. We should substitute -3 anywhere we find x in the function f of x. And the value we have gives us the image or the output. So from f of x equals 7 minus x, if we substitute x, if we substitute -3 in all positions of x, we're going to have 7 minus the position of x, which is -3. When we see two negative signs together, it becomes a plus, so 7 plus 3. And our f of -3 is equals to 10. So our answer here is C. Question number 15. Given the Cartesian product P cross Q equals to M3, M5, N3, N5. The set Q is. This question is simply a very simple question, but you have to be careful. First of all, you have to know that the Cartesian product refers to a set of ordered pairs. Okay, so it means that the first element has to come from the first set and the second element has to come from the second set, forming one pair. Okay, so if you observe keenly, you will see that since P is the first set, it has to occupy all the first elements that is in the x positions. Okay, that means if you look at the first ordered pair, that means the first order pair there is M3. That means the value of P is the value of P in that first set is M. In the second set you have M5. That means the value of P is M. The third set you have N3. The value of P is N. You have the fourth one, you have N5. The value of P is N. And remember, when you're extracting your set from the Cartesian product already given, you have to make sure you don't repeat. If an element is repeating itself, you just ignore it. Okay, so also Q is the second part of the Cartesian product, so it has to occupy all the first elements in the y position rather, and make sure you don't repeat. If a number is repeating itself, you don't repeat. So automatically, if you look at the second positions, okay, sorry, the second positions, of course, which represents y, we're going to say the second positions are simply 3, 5, 3, 5. So in general, we have our set Q to be 3, 5. Okay, I hope it is well understood. So to this effect, our answer is B. Question number 16. It says the function f and g are defined on R, the set of real numbers. They're asking us to find the value of f of g of x. So you have to know this under composition of functions, and f of g of x will be obtained by, to find f of g of x simply means we go to the function f, which is the first thing we see there, and anywhere we see x in the function f, we replace it with the function g of x. Simple. So let's get started. So our fg of x will be equals to f into 1 minus 4x, which is g of x, right? 1 minus 4x is g of x. So I'm just replacing 1 minus 4x anywhere we see x in the function f. So this implies that our f of g of x will be equals to 1 minus 4x plus 2, okay? And our fg of x will be equals to, bring like them together, 1 plus 2 is 3 minus 4x. So to this effect, we're done with the simplification, and our answer is C. Question number 17. So a triangle in which no two sides are equal is called. The correct answer here is a scalene triangle. A scalene triangle is a triangle in which no two sides are equal. This is just a remark. You need to know that an isosceles triangle has two equal sides and of course two angles that are equal. A right angle triangle is a triangle that has an angle of 90 degrees and it's a three-sided, that's an angle of 90 degrees. An equilateral triangle is a triangle that has four sides. Take note of that. So to this effect, our answer is A scalene triangle. Question number 18. The number of edges of a square-based pyramid is, normally I was supposed to draw the diagram for you to better understand, so I'm sorry for that. But let's follow this. A square pyramid, you have to know that a square pyramid has 8 edges in general. The 4 edges are formed from the square base of the pyramid, and the remaining 4 join each of the vertices of the base with the top of the pyramid. So I really wish I had the opportunity to draw the diagram here. It actually slipped off my mind. It would have been good for better understanding, but I think with this explanation you still understand. So to this effect, our answer is C. Question number 19. The quadrilateral which has 4 lines of symmetry is called. Now you need to know a line of symmetry is that property that enables a figure to be divided to form a mirror image of itself. Now you need to know that a rectangle and a rhombus have 2 lines of symmetry, while a kite has just 1 line of symmetry. So to this effect, you can know the answer to this question. The answer to this question is a square. Okay, a square has 4 lines of symmetry. Normally I was supposed to draw the diagram for better understanding too, but I believe with this explanation it is clear. Question number 20. In figure 2, O represents the center of the circle. The angle marked X is. Now from circle theorems, you have to know that any angle subtended by a diameter at the circumference always forms an angle of 90 degrees. So this means that that place represented by the star is angle 90 degrees. And you have to know that when you sum the interior angles of a 3-sided figure or a right angle triangle, it has to give you 180 degrees. So if we take our angle X plus our angle 42 plus our angle 90 degrees, which is the one represented by the star, it should give us 180. If we bring like terms together, we're going to see that if we send 42 and 90 the other side, they become negative, and we're going to have angle X to be 180 minus 42 minus 90, which will give us 48 degrees. Just punch your calculator. So hence our answer is D. Question number 21. In the figure 3 below, the size of angle B in degrees is. To solve this kind of questions, you have to start by analyzing the diagram. Observe and see what I've just done. I've just included an angle there, B, because they are alternate angles. Okay, they are angles which are equal. So if you look at this, we are going to see that when I do this, I have what we call a straight line angle. These angles, angle B and B, are corresponding angles, not alternate angles. So if I do that, I'm going to have B and 40, and B and 40 represent a straight line angle, and you have to know that whenever you sum a straight line angle, it should always give you 180 degrees. So that means B plus 54 should give us 180 degrees. To this effect, send 54 to the other side of the equation, it becomes negative, so B equals 180 minus 54. Punch in your calculator, you have B to be 126 degrees. Hence, our answer is B. Question number 22. The diameter of the circle is 14 centimeters. Then the area of the circle in terms of pi will be. This is just direct application of formula. You have to know that generally the area of a circle is given by pi radius square. The radius was not given, but we have to know that diameter is equals to the radius was not given, but we have to know that the radius is always given by diameter on 2. So if we substitute, we're going to have the area to be pi into diameter on 2 all that squared. And if we substitute and punch preferably on our calculator, we're going to have our area to be 49 pi. We actually leave our answer in pi. We have to know pi is the same as 22 on 7 for ordinary level. Hence, our answer is D. Question number 23. The total surface area of a cube of side 8 cm is. With this question, you have to know that a cube has 6 sides. So its area will be given by 6 times side times side. So all 8 sides are equal. So we have 6 times 8 times 8, which gives us 384 cm squared. Hence, our answer is C. Question number 24. The area of a square is 444 cm square. The length in centimeters of each side is. This question is too simple. You just have to understand. So you have to know that generally the area of a square is given by side times side, which is the same as side squared, because the sides are the same. So the area was given, which is 144. So we just substitute. So 144 should be equal to x squared. And in mathematics, if we want to remove this squared on s, we have to introduce a square root sign on the other side of the equation. So s will be equal to the square root of 144, which is 12. So our answer is A. Question number 25. We are midway gone. The coordinates of the point with the line 2y equals to x plus 3 cos the y-axis is. To answer this question, you have to take note of this statement. Whenever a line cuts the y-axis, the value of x is equals to 0. So we just have to assume that x equals to 0, and we substitute in our equation of the line, and we look for the value of y. So from 2y, so we are going to replace the position of x by 0. So 2y will be equals to 0 plus 3, and 2y equals to 3, we divide both sides by 2, our y is equals to 3. Now you have to note that if the equation said the line cuts the x-axis, that means instead you'll be looking for the value of y. You'll be looking for the value of x when the value of y is 0. So take note of this. So hence our answer is A. Like I said, we're midway gone. If you are watching this video and you have not yet subscribed, please, I would like you to click on the subscription button, like, share and comment. So question number 26. Two lines are parallel if and only if. The correct option here is C, because two lines are said to be parallel if they have the same gradient. Okay, and note that two lines are perpendicular if the product of their gradient is equal to -1. Take note of that, because that is a short question that can come as well in substitution of this one. Question number 27. The midpoint of the line that passes through the points R and S is. So I have to calculate the midpoint. So generally we have to know the formula for midpoint. We have to know that midpoint, say xy, is always given by x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma y1 plus y2 divided by 2. I will not proceed from here without making you understand how to get your x1, your x2, your y1, your y2, because many students always get confused with this. So we're looking for the midpoint of 2 points of a point, say RS. So you have to see that the point R, this is the point R, and the first point on R you can call it your x1. Okay, the first point on R you can always call it your x1, and the first point and automatically the corresponding point to it will be your y1. Okay, will be your y1. And if you move to the other point S, the corresponding point, the first point is represents the position of x, so it becomes what? x2. Okay, x2, sorry, I'm not writing out well, and automatically the second position becomes y2. Okay, becomes y2. So we have x1 is 6, y1 is 7. That is from the first point, and when we move to the second point, our first point becomes x2 and the second point becomes y2. So to this effect, we can just substitute into our formula and we simplify. So our midpoint will be equals to negative 6 plus 2 divided by 2, comma 7 plus 1 divided by 2. And if we simplify, negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4, and 7 plus 1 is 8, all of that divided by 2. So negative 4 divided by 2 should give us negative 2, and 8 divided by 2 should give us 4. Hence our midpoint is negative 2, 4. This makes our answer to be B. Question number 28. The equation of the line with gradient 2 passing through the point 4, 3 is. To solve this equation, you just have to make use of this general formula. I have already made everything easy for you. Now, whenever you are given the gradient and a point to find the equation of the line, you have to make use of this formula. Y equals to m, where m is the gradient, into x minus x1, all of that, plus y1. So like I already said, your x1 is always the first point, and your y1 is always the second point on that axis, okay, on that particular point. You have to take note of that. So if we substitute, the gradient was given to be 2, and our x1 from the point is 4, and our y1 is 3. So we have y equals to 2 into x minus 4 plus 3. And we multiply everything. We are going to have y equals to 2 times x is 2x, minus 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, plus 3, and y equals to 2x minus 5 if we bring like terms together, because negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. So this means we send 2x. If we send our 2x to the other side and negative 5 to the other side of the equation, we're going to have y minus 2x plus 5 to be equals to 0. Note that whenever something is crossing an equality sign, the sign has to change. If it was negative, it becomes positive, and if it was positive, it becomes negative. So to this effect, our correct answer here is question number 29. The number of arcs in the network in figure 4 is. This question is under networks, and you have to know that the number of arcs means you should look for the links. You should look for the number of lines linking points, okay, linking points together. You have to also note that another name for arcs is edges, or lines, or graphs, because you can also be asked any of the synonyms. So if you observe critically, you are going to see that the number of arcs here are simply 5. Why? Remember, I said number of arcs simply means the number of lines linking points. So if you look at the point, let's start with the point RS. If you look at the number of lines linking this point, you're going to see that this is the first line. That's the first line linking the point RS. This is the second. So we already have 2 lines. Now if you look at the point, RT, okay, you're going to see that the line linking RT is this line. That means we already have 3 points. Also, if we look at the points ST, you're going to see that the lines linking ST is this. That means we have the 4th point, and ST, we still have this other line. That means we have 5 points, 5 lines already, and that is all. Those are all the points. So you see that generally we have 5 arcs in this network. I hope it's well understood. Please, I will still say, if you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so that whenever we upload our videos, you will be alert. Question 30. Given the expression y plus 4x minus 8, the coefficient of y is. You have to know that to answer this question, you have to know that the coefficient of y simply means you should look at the number in front of y. The coefficient of any variable simply means generally you should identify the number in front of the variable. So the coefficient of y here is 1. Also note that the coefficient of x here is 4. You just take the number in front of the variable. So to this effect, our answer is C. Question number 31. Given that p equals to 3 and q equals 2, the value of p squared minus 2q is. This question is simply on direct substitution. So we just have to replace p with 3 and q with 2 in the expression given. So anywhere we see p, we replace it with 3, and anywhere we see q, we replace it with 2, and we simplify. You can just punch your calculator as well. So given our expression p squared minus 2q, So we're going to have 3 squared minus 2 into 2, and we simplify. 3 squared is 9, 2 times 2 is 4, so 9 minus 4 gives us 5. Hence, the correct answer to this question is A. Question number 32. The solution of the inequality, say 9 minus x greater than 2x, is... This question is a nice question, very trickish. So we have to proceed by first of all bringing like terms together. This question looks very simple, but you have to be careful. Just follow through to the end and you'll see the trick, because many students always forget this concept. So if we bring like terms together, we are going to send 2x to the other side of the equation, and the sign will change from positive to negative. So we are going to have 9 minus x minus 2x greater than 0. And negative x minus 2x gives us negative 3x, so we are going to have negative 3x to be greater than negative 9. We have already sent 9 to the other side of the equation. Take note. Now we have to divide both sides by negative 3. Now this is the remark I was talking about. You have to know that whenever you are dividing both sides of the equation by a negative sign, if it's assuming it's an inequality, the inequality sign has to reverse. If it was greater than, it will now going to become less than. Because normally you know that negative 3x divided by, if we divide both sides at this point, if we divide both sides by, if we divide both sides by negative 3, normally we're going to have our answer to be x greater than 3. But it's an inequality, the sign has to reverse. So instead, the correct answer to this question will be x less than 3. Take note of the remark. So our answer is A. Question number 33. Simplifying x on 2 minus x on 3 gives... Now this is just a question for you to apply your knowledge of LCM. LCM, sorry, not LC. That was supposed to be LCM, okay? LCM. So, sorry for that error. So to look for LCM, the first thing is for us to roll our line. The next thing is for us to look for a number that can multiply the denominator numbers 2, 3. So the simplest number that can multiply 2, 3 is 6. So we write it down. Now we start our division. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times x is 3x. We go to the other side. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times x is x. Don't forget to bring down your minus sign. Always bring it down. Or your plus sign, always bring it down. So if we simplify, 3x minus 2x will give us x. All of that divided by 6. And you see that the correct answer to this question is C. Very simple question. Even a primary 6 student can do this. Question number 34. Given that 3 raised to the power x equals 3 raised to the power minus 5, the value of x is... Now you have to see that the bases are the same, and generally under the topic indices, if you see that normally generally under the topic indices, whenever the bases are the same, we are set to equate the powers and solve for the unknown. So the bases are already the same here, so we just equate the powers. So we just have x to be equals to negative 5. Now I want to just make this remark. 3 is called the base and x is called the exponent or the power. Okay, so 3 here is the base, negative 5 is the exponent. So whenever the bases are the same, 3, 3, we simply equate the powers. Okay, this is just a remark, so our answer is C, but let me make a remark. You have to also note that if the powers are the same, we have to equate the bases as well and solve for the unknown. So this is just an example. We had, assuming we had x raised to the power 3 equals negative 5 raised to the power 3. Now you have to see that the powers are the same, 3, 3, so we have to equate the bases. So x will just be equals negative 5. Okay, question number 35. Given that v squared is equals to u squared minus 4as, the expression xs in terms of v, u, and a gives... This question simply means you should express s in terms of the other quantities. That means you should separate x from other quantities. Or in other words, you should make the subject of the formula. So from v squared equals to u squared minus 2as, we want to make s the subject of the formula. So anything that does not concern s, or anything that does not contain s, we have to put it on one side of the equation. So what I've done here is that I've simply send negative 4as to the left side of the equation, and I've sent v squared to the right side of the equation. Negative 4as was negative, so when it crossed, it became positive. V squared was positive, when it crossed towards the right, it became negative. I hope this step is understood. So if we divide both sides by as to make, if we divide both sides by 4a, to make s the subject of the formula, we're going to have s to be equal to u squared minus v squared on 4a. And you see clearly that the correct answer to this question is B. Question number 36. The next term in the sequence 3, 5, 8, 12 is... Now this question can be solved in two ways, but I'll just show you one way. In order to save time, I'm trying to make the video as short as possible so that you guys can be able to have enough data sufficient data to watch the video throughout. So this question can be solved, like I said, by using, you can either use, the first method is you can use the formula for the n term of the sequence to get it. The first term is 3, automatically you can get your common difference. Okay, so normally the question wants us to look for 3 is the first term, 5 is the second, 8 is the third, 12 is the fourth. So the question wants us to look for the fifth term, that is the next term. So you can use your formula Tn. In fact, let me just explain it. I didn't plan to do this, but let me just explain it. So from our formula Tn equals to a, which is the first term, okay, plus into n plus 1, all of that times d, where d is a common difference, and n is the term number. Okay, take note. Now you need to know that your d is always gotten by taking the succeeding term minus the preceding term. So our d should be equal to 5 minus 3, and it should also be the same value as when we take the other form, as when we take 8 minus 5. Okay, so if you observe, you see that all the answers are 2, and same thing here 2. So that's what we call the common difference. It is unique. So this is an arithmetic progression, because to use this formula, we had to first of all even check if it's an AP or it's a GP, but automatically it's an AP, so we use this formula. So if we have our formula, if we have our d, automatically the first term is 3. Okay, the first term is 3. So if we substitute this our formula, we are going to remember we are looking for the fifth term, right? We are looking for the fifth term, T5. So that means our n is equals to 5, and we are going to have the first term, which is 3, right, plus our bracket open, take care of the brackets, 5 plus 1, 5 plus 1, all of that times our d, which is 2. And in order not to waste time, if you simplify properly, 5 plus 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3. 12 plus 3 should give us 15. Is there an error anywhere? Okay, so if you observe keenly, you will see that we actually made an error somewhere. Remark, look at, come back here. 5 minus 3 is 2, but 8 minus 5 is not 2, it is 3. Okay, 8 minus 5 is 3. So you see that this sequence does not have a unique common difference. So the only best way in which we can solve this problem is by simply reasoning and applying our knowledge of sequences and series. So let's look at it properly. If you observe, you are going to see that, let's see that from that 2 has been added to get to 5. Now, so that means from 3 to 5 we have added 2. Now from 5 to 8, observe and see that we have added 3. From 8 to 12 we have added 4. That means automatically from 12 to the next number we should add what? We should add 5. Now, so from 3 to 5 we are adding 2, 5 to 8 3, 8 to 12 4. So automatically from 12 to the next number, which we don't know, we should be adding 5. So we just add 5 to 12, and that's going to give us the next term number. Are we okay? So if we do that properly, we're going to have 17. Hence, our answer is D. Okay, question number 37. The sum of the first n terms of a sequence is given by this. The first term is, please take note of this particular question because it's a paper 2 format question and it comes frequently. So generally, we have to know that the formula for the sum of the first n terms has been given already. They have not given you the general formula. They have solved and they have given you the sum of the first n terms for a sequence, for a certain sequence. Okay, so whenever you're given the sum of the first n terms, to find the first term, second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term, or whatever, you have to follow this approach. Remember, you are not being asked to find the sum of the first 5 terms or the sum of the first 3 terms. You have been asked to find the first term, not the sum. Okay, so if we are asked to find the first term, second term, third term, we have to know that generally the first term T1 will just be equals to S1. That means anywhere we see 1 in our Sn, we should replace it with 1. Now the second term will be equals to the sum of the first 2 terms minus the sum of the first 1 term. And automatically also the third term T3 will be equals to the sum of the first 3 terms minus the sum of the first 2 terms. Please take note of this. But if we're asked to find the sum of the first 3 terms, we are just going to go to our formula for Sn and substitute directly. Now this question wants us to look for the first term only. So the first term is only when you substitute 1 in your Sn, which is simple. The thing gets complicated when we get to when we are being asked for the second term or the third term, and so on. I hope this was explicit enough to make you understand. So if we substitute, we are going to have 1 minus 2, which is negative 1, and hence our answer is C. Question number 38. The remainder when x squared plus 2x minus 1 is divided by x minus 1 is... Now they have already told you that they have divided the function by x minus 1 is a quadratic. So whenever they divide a function by something, a factor or whatever, you have to start by equating that which it was divided by. You equate to 0, you solve for the value of x, and then you substitute that value of x back into the original function. Okay, so x minus 1 equals to 0. Send negative 1 to the other side of the equation. We have x equals to 1. Okay, now we are going to substitute the value of x equals to 1 into our equation. So f of 1 will be equals to 1 squared plus 2 into 1 minus 1. 1 squared is 1, 2 times 1 is 2 minus 1. So 1 plus 2 is 3 and 3 minus 1 is 2. So our answer is 2, not so. So our f of 1 is equals to r, not so. Whenever you substitute, remember whenever you do this as I've done for x minus 1 equals to 0 and I'm substituting this value of x into an equation, the output always gives the remainder. The output always gives the remainder. I repeat. So to this effect, our answer is 2. Our remainder is 2. So our answer is A. Question number 39. The sum of the interior angles of a right angle triangle is... This is a general case. You have to know that generally the sum of the interior angles of a right angle triangle always gives 180 degrees. Or in general, the sum of the interior angles of any three-sided figure is always 180 degrees. Hence our answer is B. Question number 40. Given that sin theta equals we have, where theta is in degrees, okay, they ask us to find the value of theta in degrees. So whenever we have the sign of an unknown, something, sign of an unknown equals to a certain number, say a half. I repeat again, whenever you have the sign of an unknown, say theta, equals to a certain number, say a half, or anything, say a half, then if you want to make this if you want to make this quantity attached to the sine, the cos, or the tan of whatever, if you want to make it the subject of the formula, if it was sine, then we'll just take the sine inverse of what we have on the other side of the equation. If it was cos, we are now going to take the cos inverse of what we have on the other side of the equation. So you just press this on your calculator and you're done. Make sure you know the calculator you're using. The way you press it in proper calculator is different from the way you press it in a scientific calculator. So make sure you review that. You can check my other videos on how to use calculators in my YouTube channel. Okay, we are not going to be explicit on that here. You can check them in my other videos, how to use the scientific calculator and how to use the proper calculator in solving ordinary level mathematics. Thank you. So our answer is D. Question number 41. The point Q is on a bearing of 050 degrees from the point P. The bearing of the point P from the point Q is... Now you have to know that generally the way we represent bearings, we always represent bearings in 3 notations. So if the bearing is 50 degrees, we represent it in bearing notation as 050 degrees. So take note, because there are other questions too like this. So the question says the bearing of Q from P, okay, so it's 50 degrees. So if we have our point P and see our point Q that way, now the bearing of P, the bearing of Q from P simply means we should start from the north pole of P. Simply means we should start from the north pole of P. This is the north pole of P. We should start from the north pole of P and move clockwise, okay, and move clockwise till we touch the line that links P to Q. That gives us the bearing of Q from P. So we start from the north pole of P to the line till we touch the line that links P to Q. Okay, so there we're going to have an angle of 50 degrees. That's the bearing of Q from P. Now the question wants us to calculate the bearing of P from Q. So we have to start from the north pole of Q until we come and touch the line that links Q to P, moving clockwise. So this angle like this that we see is the bearing of P from Q. Okay, so if you do that properly and calculate properly well, that angle is going to give us 230 degrees. But trust me, this is a unique solution academy. I'll make you to understand how 230 degrees comes about. So if you look at this angle, the angle which represents the bearing of P of Q from P is 50 degrees, and the angle I've just represented is 50 degrees as well. They are alternating angles, or in other words, they are Z angles, so they are equal. So that angle is also 50 degrees. Also, you have to know that this angle is 90 degrees, and also this other angle is 90 degrees. So from the given diagram above, our bearing of P from Q will just be 50 plus 90 plus 90, which gives us 230 degrees. Hence, our answer is C. Question number 42. The unit vector parallel to the vector 3i plus 4j is... We have to know that generally a unit vector is that vector divided by its magnitude. So we just take the vector itself and divide by its magnitude, but we have to know that the magnitude is given by the square of each of the quantities involved in the vector. That means we square the I component and we square the j component, and we take the square root sign. We add them and we take the square root sign, okay, as shown, as you can see. So if we do that, you're going to have root 25, which is 5. Now our unit vector will be that vector itself divided by the magnitude, which is 5. So if you do this properly, our answer is C. Question number 44. The order of the matrix, this is given by... Generally, the order of a matrix is always given by the number of rows by the number of columns. Don't reverse the order. If you reverse the order, you are on your own. So take note, it is given by the number of rows is to the number of rows by the number of columns. So let me just make a remark here, how to get the number of rows and how to get the number of columns. Whenever I want to get the number of rows or the order of a matrix, you have to know that it is given by the number of rows by the number of columns. So anything going this way are the rows, and you observe keenly, you're going to see that we have the first row, we have the second row, and talking about columns, we have the column from 1 to 5. This is it, from 1 to 5. We have another column from 0, 13, and we have another column 2, 4. So the general order is row by column. So take note. Thank you. So the answer is A. Question number 43. Given the vector diagram, that's a vector diagram. They say AB is A, BC is 3B. The vector AC in terms of A and B is. This question is very simple. All we need to do is to move. The question wants us to move from A to B, right? For us to move from, the question wants us to move from A to C. So to move from A to C, we have to first of all move from A to B, and then we also move from B to C. Then we have arrived at C. So we have moved from A to C. Okay, so that means that from that simple explanation, our AC will be equals to AB plus BC, and our AB is A and our BC is 3B. So hence our answer is D. Question number 45. The 2 by 2 identity, the 2 by 2 identity matrix for multiplication is. This question, you just have to know that the identity matrix. You just have to know that the identity matrix has only ones on the leading diagonal and zeros on the other diagonal. Take note. So our answer is D. Take note of this. Question number 46. The transformation matrix 2, 1, 1, 3 maps the point Q, that's 3, 2, to the point Q prime with the coordinates. Take note of how we are going to solve this question, because paper 2 format, this question always comes in paper 2 as well, the same as it is like this. So to solve this, we simply have to pre-multiply the matrix by the point Q. Simple. As simple as that. So this implies our matrix is 2, 1, 2, 3. So we'll multiply by the matrix by the point 3, 2. So take note of matrix multiplication. First thing, 2 times 3 plus 1 times 2. We move down. 2 times 3 plus 3 times 2. And we simplify. You know, 2 times 3 is 6, right? Plus 1 times 2, that gives us 8. We go down. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 3 times 2. 6. So 6 plus 6, 12. So we have the point 8, 12. Okay? Take note of that. Hence, our answer is A. But let me give a brief remark again. What you have to do is that you have to take this guy, as we did, and you multiply by, so you take the row on the first side and multiply by the column on this other side. That's why we have 2 times 3 plus 1 times, that's why we have 2, that's why we have 2 times 3 plus 2 again, plus 1 times 2. That's the order. Now we move down, right? We move down to this other matrix, and we still pre-multiply by this guy. Okay, so we are going to start 2 times 3 also plus 3 times 2. That's the order. I hope it's understood. Then we just simplify, and that is all. So to this, if our answer is A. Question number 47. We are getting to the end of this lesson. If you have not still subscribed, make sure you do. So figure 6, given figure 6, the mode in this distribution is. This question is too simple, and it's a very common question in paper 2 section B, of course. You have to know that the mode is simply the mark that has the highest frequency. That means the number that has repeated itself the most number of times. So observe and see that the mark that has repeated itself the highest number of times is the mark X, which is equals to 8. It has repeated itself 3 times. Hence our answer is C. Question number 48. The median of the following data, 42, 32, 36, 39, 47, 43 is. To solve this question, you have to begin by either arranging the numbers in an ascending order or a descending order, increasing or decreasing order, same thing. And you have to know that median simply means when you arrange in an increasing or decreasing order, you identify the middle element. So if you do this properly, you're going to see that our middle element will be 42. So on this side we have 3 elements. On this other side we have 3 elements. So the middle number is 42. making 42 to be the our median. Or you can as well arrange it in a decreasing order from 47 to 32. 42 will still from 47 to 32, that's in decreasing order. That means you start from the highest to the lowest. Your answer will still be B. Question number 49. Given the frequency distribution table of marks scored by the group of students in the test, the mean is, this is still a paper 2 sample question, so take note. So generally, mean is always given by the sum of the frequency times the mark divided by the sum of the frequency. So you have to know that our sum of frequency means, our sum of fx means we take each mark times its frequency. Okay, let me demonstrate. You take each mark, this is a mark, you take each mark times its frequency, go to the next. That's why we have 0.0 times 1. Go to the next, each mark times its frequency, each mark times its frequency, and each mark times its frequency. That gives us our sum of fx. Okay, that gives us our sum of fx. Now to get our sum of f, this is the f, this is our frequency line here, so we just sum all of these quantities. Okay, that's what we have here, and that gives us our sum of f. That's what we have here. Okay, that's what we have here. So if you simplify that properly, we are going to have your mean to be 0 plus 3 plus 14 plus 15 divided by 16, and that gives us 32 on 6. You divide both sides by 16. If you divide the numerator and denominator by 16, you're going to have x to be equal to 2. Hence our answer is A. Question number 50. This is the last question. Here we go. From a well-shuffled pack of cards, one card is drawn. The probability that it is a club is, this is still a sample paper 2 question. To answer this, we need to take note of the following. In a pack of playing cards containing 52 playing cards, or let's say in a pack of 52 cards, you have to know that we have 13 hearts, we have 13 clubs, we have 13 spades, and we have 13 diamonds. So we all know that the probability for something to occur is equal to the number of that thing divided by the sample space. Okay, so we have to know that the total number of cards in a pack is 52 and the total number of clubs is 13. So the probability of choosing a club should be the number of clubs divided by the total number of cards. So that gives us 13 of 52, which is 1/4. And the answer is D. Okay guys, we have come to the end of this lesson. Please, if you have not subscribed, I would love you to do so. And thank you all for watching. Make sure you drop your questions and comments in the comment section below so that I can attend to them. Thank you very much and have a nice day.